Alice Through the Looking Glass is the sequel to the 2010 Alice in Wonderland movie made by Tim Burton, and this sequel has been asked for so many years. Like, I can remember hearing so many people say, we need Alice in Wonderland 2. We need it exactly 6 years later, and here it is, right now, we finally got it. Actually, I don't remember anyone saying they wanted a sequel to Alice in Wonderland. In fact, I didn't want a sequel, and I actually liked it when it first came out. Now I think it's... but still, there's no need to make a sequel to that movie, but they did it anyways. In the real world, Alice is still a sea captain, like at the end of Alice in Wonderland, she's doing her father's legacy, whatever the fluff it was. And then it's like, oh no, your house is gonna get taken away if you can continue being a sea captain, but if you sign this deed and give up your job, then you can keep the house. And she's like, oh no, no, I can't deal with this. And she goes to her happy place, being Wonderland, and she finds out, oh crap, the Hatter is really sad because he thinks his family is still out there and nobody believes him. So Alice decides to investigate by traveling through time with the chronosphere, which she steals from the actual time, because time is a he. And while that's going on, that's right, there's still more stuff going on, the Red Queen is trying to get revenge on the White Queen by trying to get the same thing that Alice is using. So, a bunch of stuff going on. And I was really not looking forward to this movie. As soon as they announced it, I was really not looking forward to it. I was hoping that maybe the director, James Bobin, would do a good job because he made Muppets and Muppets Most Wanted, two films I actually kind of enjoy. And the trailers just really did not impress me. Like, they were trying to build up the hype for this movie, and I just didn't really feel it. And you know what? After walking away from this movie, it's actually worse than I thought it was going to be. The only plus that I can really think of for this movie is that Sacha Baron Cohen was actually pretty entertaining as Time. I thought he was really cool. He wasn't very funny, but no one's very funny. He said like 2 things that made me chuckle, and that's the only times I actually chuckled were from him, so that's okay, I guess. And he was like the only character I was really rooting for, because these people are trying to screw up time, everything. Alice, to try to make her friend happy, she risks the entire universe, everything, just to make her friend happy. And the Red Queen is trying to get revenge, but what she doesn't realize is that she's ultimately gonna screw up time itself too. Because of that, I rooted for time to actually make time in balance again. Alice, I looked at Alice as more of the douche than I did Time. I thought Time was gonna be the villain. He's not really the villain. And speaking of Alice, Mia Wasikowska, I like her as an actress. Like in Crimson Peak, I thought she was pretty good. But in the first Alice in Wonderland movie, I thought she was kind of bland. In this movie, she is also very bland once again. Like the sea captain opening, like there's being attacked by pirates. I thought it was Pirates of the Caribbean for a second. I was losing my mind waiting for Jack Sparrow to show up. But I thought she had some really good energy going on. She was yelling like, hey, tip the boat over and we can get through the shallow water. That was cool, but as soon as she steps off the boat and the actual plot kicks in, she became very boring. In fact, the real world was very boring, and it was a very boring setup to the Wonderland part. I was actually looking forward to going to Wonderland because this world was so boring and slow. And then we finally go to Wonderland, and then it begins to be rushed, and it's not really that wonderful. You want to know why? Because the visual effects and the green screen, awful. There are a couple things that I like the Cheshire Cat or the dog or the rabbit, like the CG creatures. They look good. The only problem is they don't blend well with the live action characters there. Like if it was an animated movie, this movie would look very good, but it's not an animated movie. It's a live action / CGI hybrid. And I'm being honest, none of the visuals impressed me. Sure, the characters look cool, but they didn't impress me when they were interacting with actual people. You could really tell that the actors were just staring at nothing, like just doing generic reactions to a CGI creature. And it wouldn't be so bad if the majority of the characters were live action, but guess what? The majority of the characters in this movie, they're CGI. So you have like 4 or 5 live action people interacting with green screen, CGI characters hopping about, and just going through time with the time C thingamajig CGI thing. And I really do need to bring this up. Johnny Depp. Johnny, listen, buddy. I know you've been going through some rough times lately. I know. Like the Amber Heard divorce thing, that sucks, man. And I just wanted to let you know, you can do better. Black Mass, way better than any of your recent performances, but then you decide to come back to this. the Mad Hatter, which is my least favorite character that he's done, him and Tonto. My two least favorite of Johnny Depp's. He comes back, somehow he makes the Mad Hatter more annoying, like he talks more with the lisp than actual. He was so incomprehensible because he keeps talking like this throughout the entire movie. Did he have that much of a thing throughout the first movie? Because I barely remember that. He changed voices a lot. In this movie, his gimmick is that he changes hair color. Okay. But throughout the entire movie, you have to listen to this because he can't speak properly. Oh my god. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not making fun of anyone who has a lisp or anything like that. I'm just saying that Johnny Depp's performance using that lisp was really irritating, especially since I don't remember him having it in the first movie. But Anne Hathaway is pretty much the same, like in the first movie. And by that I mean really just hand-wavy, hippie, talking really lightly and stuff. Oh. So I wasn't a fan of Anne Hathaway. I was also not a fan of Helena Bonham Carter. In the first movie I thought she was fine, and in this movie she just overacted to the max. The CGI big head was really bad. And honestly, this whole story is just so cash grabby. Like when Alice actually gets to Wonderland, like the story actually picks up and they're actually rushing through the introduction. Like she falls down in a flower garden and they're like, Alice, you're back, you gotta go help the Mad Hatter. There's no really, oh my gosh, what's up, how have you been, oh man, how are you guys doing? Oh, it's just, oh, you're back, go to the Hatter. And there was one scene that happened, it was a huge inconvenience. It happened for pretty much no reason at all, just to add some more tension, I guess. And I didn't see the purpose of it. I don't want to spoil it. Let's just say it involves Andrew Scott. And if you know who Andrew Scott is, then you remember him from the trailer. And yeah. But yeah, Andrew Scott is barely in this movie. You know who else is barely in this movie? Alan Rickman. He has like literally a minute of screen time. Actually, it's not screen time. It's voice screen time because he's voicing the butterfly Absalom, whatever. What a way to go out, Alan Rickman. This is like his last movie, and it's like 1 minute of him as a voice. Great job. Guys, I really just did not like this movie. I was never entertained by what was going on. Sure, the CGI might be more colorful than Burton, but that doesn't save how terrible the visuals looked. This movie never made me laugh. I honestly never had a good time except for when Sacha Baron Cohen was on screen. Whenever he was, I actually felt some enjoyment because he had a solid performance. Everything else is a mess, and I'm gonna give Alice Through the Looking Glass a D-. I'm sure this movie will do well, but I hope it doesn't do too well because I really don't want to see another Alice movie. Like, we're done. There's no need to make any more movies about this. Like, isn't like Wonderland supposed to be where Alice copes because she can't deal with the real world because she's psycho, so she goes to her happy place in her mind, Wonderland, and whatever happens in Wonderland reflects what's going on in her life? That doesn't really happen in Through the Looking Glass. Like, I don't see how her saving the Hatter's family really helps out with her crisis of, do I sign this paper or not? But anyways, guys, if you saw Alice Through the Looking Glass, leave in the comments below of what you thought of it. And I'm gonna have other reviews soon, like Hardcore Henry, I actually saw that. Angry Birds movie, also saw that. Neighbors 2, Nice Guys, Hush, Mr. Right, London's Fallen the Witch. That's 8 movies. I'm so slammed. Oh my god. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.